everyone for joining us here at Move United. My name is Lily Jagozinski and I'm an event specialist with Move United, and we are super excited to continue our Training Tip Tuesday with Ashley Eisenmenger. She is an elite para-triathlete. She is an athlete with Dare to Try out in Chicago, Illinois, and she works for Access Living. We are so excited to have her. She is a huge wealth of knowledge, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about her story, her involvement in sports, as well as what she does for a living, and how she uses the AdaptAtHome fitness kit from Move United to stay active. And so, Ashley, thank you so much for being here today. We are super excited that you are also able to answer some questions live. So if you're tuning in on Facebook, feel free to put in the comment section and ask Ashley questions throughout the session. And now I'll turn it over to you, Ashley.
Thanks, Lily. Hi guys, my name is Ashley Eisenmenger. As Lily mentioned, I am coming to you from Chicago. I am a paratriathlete and endurance runner. I have a visual impairment, I'm blind. And I basically use the AdaptAtHome kit through the work that I do with Dare to Try. Move United has been a great partner for Dare to Try. We actually just used the kit this morning doing a virtual functional strength training. We do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it's really great to get to couple that with some of the indoor training that I do as a blind athlete. Primarily, my training requires assistance from someone who is sighted. So I'll ride an indoor bike trainer right now, and that's the bulk of my triathlon related training paired with the functional strength with Move United and Dare to Try. But when we can be outside and close to other people, I compete as a competitive elite paratriathlete. I've raced all over the country and with Team USA, and then I'm a member of Dare to Try's elite team as well. And being that I am a blind athlete, triathlon looks a little bit different for me. What's really cool about paratriathlon is when you compete as a blind athlete, you compete alongside a sighted guide. So what's typically considered an individual sport for me is a team effort from start to finish. We swim tethered. I swim with a bungee cord tied around my upper thigh and my guide's upper thigh. And then he or she will physically guide me through an open water swim course. We have cues for turns around buoys. And then we hop out of the water, jump onto a tandem bike. My guide sits in front. They're responsible for pedaling, steering, seeing, and shifting. And then I'm in the back and I also pedal. And then my job is to basically follow their commands, lean when they lean, etc. We are on the same timing chain. So our feet move at the exact same time, which means our communication has to be really honed in and on point. We pop off the bike and then head out on the run. So I use a waist tether to run. It's a belt with bungee cord connecting me to my guide. And then they will verbally cue me or kind of physically help move me so that I'm safe on the course as we navigate through runners or aid stations of any kind. They'll call out turns, uneven spots in the ground, etc. And then we finish the triathlon, which is always the goal. But considering that most racing isn't happening this year and most close contact isn't encouraged, doing a lot of work with Dare to Try. We do the virtual strength, like I mentioned earlier. We use the portion of the AdaptAtHome kit that we use a lot are the resistance bands. They're great for seated or standing exercises. We'll use the rubber ball for things like Russian twists or like wall ball throws. Really anything to turn the small space that I have. I live in a very small studio apartment near downtown Chicago, into my gym, which has been really amusing. But when I'm not training, I work for Access Living. They're a Center for Independent Living here in Chicago, and we do a lot of advocacy work around housing. and education. And it's kind of cool to see my interest in adaptive sports kind of spill over into my professional world with work. Another project that I'm working on outside of work is with my friend Nicole. It's the We Just Felt Like Running campaign. I know it's gone out in a Move United newsletter, but it's advocacy centered around access to movement, which Move United is a huge partner in. With these AdaptAtHome Kits, they've done a really good job of bringing movement that wouldn't otherwise be achievable to people through equipment. And not only for me at the beginning of the pandemic, I couldn't do much other than ride my bike because I didn't have the equipment. And through their generosity in sending out these kits and through their partnership with organizations like Dare to Try, fitness has become, once again, a regular part of my routine. It's just looked a lot different now. And then I can't let this moment pass without saying that it is National Blind Sports Week. The United States Association of Blind Athletes is putting on a week-long event highlighting all of the great things happening for folks with visual impairments and blindness in the athletic realm. And as a blind athlete, I couldn't do what I do without access to sports through organizations like Dare to Try, Move United, and USABA. And Lily, do we have any questions coming in?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks for talking about your story. And you touched on so many great things that we're just going to follow up on all those questions. So speaking about paratriathlons, what is your favorite leg in the race? What do you love and what is not your favorite?
So my least favorite is the swim. And I don't think I'm in the minority. I think a lot of triathletes aren't fans of the swim. I like to talk a lot and I like to listen to people talk, and you can't really do that when you're underwater. It's a little challenging. So the swim is my least favorite. But to pair with that, I love the bike the most. I really like to go fast, and on a tandem, you can go really, really fast, which is always really fun, especially when you have a tandem pilot that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember one time we were doing tandem biking and you're like, can we go faster? I'm like, no.
Yes.
So good to know. And what kind of races have you done? What is the most accomplished race that you feel good that you've done? Tell me about your experiences in there.
Yeah, so in the endurance running field in general, I've run a marathon, handful of half marathons, and then a lot of 5Ks. In triathlon, I've done everything from the sprint distance, which is the competitive distance for para athletes. It's a 750-meter swim, a 20-kilometer bike, and a 5-kilometer run, up to a half Ironman or an Ironman 70.3, which is a 1.2-mile swim, a 56-mile bike, and a half marathon run, which is 13.1 miles. I like the short stuff better right now because it's a little bit more conducive for training. I've gotten to race at the national and international levels of competition, which has been really fun. For only having been in triathlon for 5 or 6 years now, like I've really gotten to experience kind of the full spectrum of racing, which has been really cool because it can be conducive to whatever someone's preferences or fitness ability is. I think that's one of the really unique things about triathlon is there's a distance for everybody, and for as logistically difficult as 3 sports in one sounds, it's really, really doable.
Awesome. Another question that we had is, how do you train for swimming during COVID since access to pools has been limited?
That's a really good question. And if I'm being completely honest, I have not touched water in a pool since February. I do a lot of work with resistance bands, which is why getting the AdaptAtHome Kit was so important to me in my training. So we can kind of anchor the bands in different ways to strengthen the muscles that we would use to swim, doing like lat pull downs, reaches, rows, etc. Really engaging the different parts of your swim stroke in ways that you wouldn't necessarily do while you're actually swimming, but adapted for dry land.
Awesome. Thank you. And can you explain a little bit more about the AdaptAtHome Kits for people who don't know them? How did you get one? What else was in it, etc.?
Yeah, so you can apply at Move United's website. I'm sure there will be a link associated with this post.
Yes.
But just hop on over to their website. It's a form. It's really easy to fill out, and it's also screen reader accessible, which is great. The kit comes with this t-shirt that I'm wearing that you really can't see because you can only see my head. It comes with some resistance bands. It comes with a rubber, like, there's probably a technical name for it, but it's like I think of it as like a kickball ball. It comes with a cordless jump rope, which I personally love because balancing and timing are really, really hard for me. So it's nice to be able to jump rope without actually having to do it well. And then there's a towel, which is currently draped over my bike in my apartment. But I also use it for things like hamstring curls. And then a water bottle and a face covering headband. There's a real name for it that I can't think of, but it's super great. So just like a variety of things that you can use in a variety of ways. I think I've even filled up the water bottle and used it as like a weight for Russian twist. Like I've gotten really creative with this kit. But yeah, I just apply online. I know you guys are still taking applications for fitness kits, but there were some delays in shipping. So folks are gonna have to be kind of patient, but they will come.
Awesome. Yes, thank you for summarizing it exactly how we would explain it too. And Ashley got hers a little bit later, and so we definitely appreciate everyone's patience as we are just kind of waiting for items to come in and then ship them out again. I also have a shout out on Facebook from Kelly Schultz, and she says, "Hi, Ashley." And so does Orlando Perez. He's one of our warriors. And we have some other questions as well in here. Would you recommend to someone who is looking to get involved in adapted sports?
Reach out to organizations. Move United, you guys have a really comprehensive list of sports and their modifications and breakdowns, and also partner organizations that you can connect interested athletes to. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm absolutely a resource for anybody that needs it. And I know you guys are too, and folks at Dare to Try are as well. It's a really, really cool community, and we're a lot of fun, and everybody wants to help people get involved in sports because everybody should be able to move, and regardless of what that might have to look like, it can be done. So reach out to folks, reach out to Move United, ask any questions. There are no wrong questions.
Yes, thank you. Another question for you about guides in paratriathlon. Do you have the same guide for every single leg? Can you switch people out? Feel free to tell us about that process.
Yeah, so that's a great question. You have to do the entire race with the same guide. If you're racing a non-USA triathlon sanctioned race or an Ironman branded longer course race, your guide does not have to be the same gender as you. If you're racing like a national championship or a qualifier or anything on the like professional circuit internationally, your guide would have to be the same gender as you. So when I'm looking for guides for either training or racing, I look for athletes that are a little bit fitter than me. Ideally so that if I'm doing a really hard workout, I don't have to worry about their ability to finish the workout. I only have to worry about mine. You want the guide to be as little of a distraction or a hindrance as possible. And with that often comes higher fitness levels than the person that they're guiding.
Great. Thank you. A question about Dare to Try, but also just virtual programming in general. How can you find that programming, and what does that always look like? Is it specific sports? Is it specific times? Go.
Yes. So we have a variety of virtual events right now. We do virtual, so everything's done over Zoom. We do virtual functional strength training Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Tuesdays, we offer it from 6:30 to 7 a.m. and then from 6 to 6:30 p.m. And then on Thursdays, it's just from 6 to 6:30 p.m. We also do virtual cycling on Mondays and Fridays from 7 to 8. Mondays is more of a structured ride, and Friday is more of just a easier chat, catch up. In the real world, we would call it like a coffee ride, for everyone to kind of hop on and connect. And then we do use the Zwift virtual cycling platform. If people have access to that or a smart trainer, that will kind of auto adjust for them. But I don't actually use Zwift because it's not accessible to screen readers. So you can absolutely hop on these workouts and complete them just with you and your bike on an indoor trainer and your Zoom account. Folks can find info at Dare to Try's website, www.daretotry.org. It's also linked in their Instagram bio.
Perfect. And if you're not able to tune in for Dare to Try's workouts, we also list a bunch of other workouts on our virtual calendar at moveunitedsport.org. And that allows you to find a variety of different activities. So we have yoga, we have strength training, we have paraskeleton, which is a really cool sport and activity that's done virtual. So everything is on there, and we'll make sure that we get some links out there on our Facebook page too. So
I highly recommend the yoga. It's great. I love yoga.
Thank you. So another question that we had was, are you able to train with guides right now, or are you mostly doing virtual training?
The majority of my training is virtual. I do have a few guides that I will run with, but I've kind of kept that circle pretty small just because of COVID and health concerns. I can't wait to be able to do more exercise outside. But I'm super happy that I have a few people that I can get out and run with.
Awesome. Well, Ashley, is there anything else that you wanted to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so.
Perfect. Well, we really appreciate you hopping on. It's always great to talk to you and kind of get to know you, as well as more information about just how you've gotten involved in sports. And we appreciate you also talking about our Move United Adapt at Home fitness kits. They're awesome, and there's some great equipment in there. And if you don't have an idea on what you can do with the equipment, or you aren't able to turn into a live event, we also have events recorded up on YouTube, and we have a Adapt at Home resource library. So you can get a kit, you can see, okay, I want to do something with this exercise ball, and go onto our website and see all the different exercises we list there. We probably have about 30 different exercises for the various pieces of equipment. So we appreciate you, Ashley, on everything that you're currently doing. We wish you the best of luck with your training. And at this point, we will say goodbye for the day, and we'll talk to you soon.